Recently, we came across a great article in Kiplinger's Personal Finance about the 4 biggest retirement blunders that people make and how you can avoid them. So in today's video, we are going to talk about all 4 of those blunders and what we tell our clients to keep them from making these mistakes.
Blunder number 1, Amber, is definitely the top of the list for a reason, because it is nearly every visit we have with a prospective client. This topic comes up and we have to educate them on it, and that is not giving Social Security enough respect. What does that mean? That means not planning on when to take Social Security and maximize it. So Amber, this is number 1 people have in their mind. I'm claiming Social Security the day I can or the day I retire, whichever sooner, right? And we have to explain to them, well, if you're going to claim while you're still working, there are penalties. If you're married, there are hundreds of calculations that have to be made to determine the best time for each spouse to claim Social Security. You can get a spousal benefit while yours rolls up and things like this. So definitely we got to spend a lot of time figuring out how to get the most back from Social Security.
So yes, you can take Social Security at 62, but for most people, they should not take Social Security at 62.
Yeah, Amber, I would say that about 50% of the people we work with take it right around their full retirement age, which for most viewers is probably right around between 66 and 67. So it goes up 66 in 2 months, 4 months, that sort of thing. So somewhere between 66 and 67. But if you're married, that's not probably the best solution. In fact, if you're married, there's probably some very advanced planning going on where one spouse, the higher earning spouse, the spouse with the higher benefit, will delay even beyond full retirement age, while the spouse with a smaller benefit may claim much earlier, even at 62 or 63. So you've got to really sit down with someone who has the software who can help you run these calculations. But by far, this is the number 1 topic I have conversation with on clients. They have it in their mind when they're taking it, and they don't really want to hear anything else. So we have to educate them on how the plan works and how the system works, and convince them, hey, you know, if you decide to wait, let's follow this plan. You can always undo that, right? You can always call up the Social Security and say, nope, I'm ready now, and make a change. But if you take it early and decide later that you shouldn't have, that's a lot more difficult to undo. In fact, you only have 1 year to undo it.
So we are all about helping our clients maximize their retirement income, and making sure that they understand when to take Social Security is a big part of this.
Well, you've paid into the system all these years. Get the most back, right? Don't short yourself. I mean, you paid in. It's your money. Try to get the most back that you can.
So that is our number 1 blunder, is not knowing when to take Social Security and not planning for that. So the second blunder that we want to talk about is ignoring sequence of returns risk. Now, this is something that we have discussed in other videos.
Right. Amber, sequence of returns risk simply is the risk that your retirement portfolio will have significant losses early in your retirement. So losses that come 25 years into retirement, not so much a concern. Losses that come the first 25 weeks of retirement, huge concern. That is the sequence of risk. So imagine, Amber, if you are planning to retire, you say on January 1, you're all set, you retire, end of the year, you're set, you're living life, and then September comes around and the stock market loses 40%. Your retirement account drops by 40%. Are you staying retired or not? Depends on how much other assets you have if you're claiming Social Security, but that is sequence of returns risk.
So our favorite way to help our clients minimize the sequence of returns risk to their retirement accounts is our bucket retirement plan.
That takes a lot of risk in the early years off. If you haven't seen that video, we encourage you to watch that video. But the idea is, in the first decade or so of retirement, you want guaranteed income while your other assets continue to grow, but take that risk off the table. Again, we mentioned if you are in year 20 or 25 and there's a market correction, much less likely to negatively impact you over the long term versus early. So the bucket retirement plan takes sequence of returns risk off the table. Blunder number 3 is not having a plan for long-term care. And Amber, I actually fault a lot of advisors. A lot of advisors out there don't want to talk about this. It's an uncomfortable topic, and their clients also don't want to talk about it. So tell us, why is it such an important topic to cover?
Well, according to the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, a person who turns 65 today has about a 70% chance of needing some type of long-term care services and support later on. So needing long-term care is a real risk for retirees. So what is the solution?
Well, we've done another video on that, surprise, about the best ways to plan for long-term care. For most people, it is not, Amber. I repeat, it is not going out and buying a traditional long-term care insurance policy where they pay premium after premium, month after month, and then pray every night that they don't need to collect on it. There are several other great options out there, including some nearly free options with annuity riders or life insurance riders that can actually pay for long-term care. So again, I encourage you to check out that video. But again, that made the top list of Kiplingers as the top 3 mistakes that people make is not having that discussion or having the plan. And I'll tell you, a lot of people's plans, Amber, is simply this: no plan. If you have no plan for long-term care, that is your plan. You got no plan, you're gonna wing it. That's your plan, is you're gonna wing it. Not recommended for a successful retirement.
Bad idea. There are better solutions, so don't miss the video on long-term care solutions. So blunder number 4 is leaving IRA money to heirs. Now, this seems a little bit strange because most people want to be able to leave some for their heirs, maybe take minimum distributions from their IRA accounts and leave the rest to their beneficiaries. So why is this a bad idea?
Amber, this is a bad idea now after a tax law change in 2020. It used to be that people wanted to leave IRA money to their children because they could stretch it over their lifetimes. They call that the stretch IRA. 85-year-old dad leaves it to his 50-year-old son. 50-year-old son can now defer taxes on that, taking out just the minimum for the next 40 plus years. That's gone, okay? The reason this blunder has been put on the list is because now IRA beneficiaries must distribute the entire amount of that IRA within 10 years of the date of death. So you can imagine mom and dad have a $500,000 IRA they're leaving to 1 or 2 kids. All of that income is taxable and must be distributed by law in the first 10 years after the date of death.
So the solution after this tax change is the Roth IRA. So tell us how that works for an average retiree.
Well, the idea, Amber, is that you want to begin converting the amount you don't think you're going to use for income in retirement from a traditional IRA to a Roth. Start paying the tax now at probably presumably lower tax rates than your children would be in if they're working full-time in their prime earning years and inheriting a bunch of money. The idea, the solution is it needs to be tax-free. So the Roth IRA is one idea, convert to a Roth IRA. Or if you're in good health and you're trying to avoid blunder number 3, the long-term care plan, perhaps you take out additional funds each year from your IRA, pay the tax on it, and then purchase some form of a hybrid life insurance policy that provides long-term care should you need it, and then if you don't, then it passes tax-free to your beneficiary. So the idea is getting money out of your IRA that you're not going to spend in retirement and parking it elsewhere, either in a Roth IRA or in life insurance.
So both of those are much better solutions for leaving a legacy to your heirs.
Exactly. Yeah, don't leave the IRA if you can avoid it.
If you need help avoiding any or all of these 4 blunders, you can go to workwithnewgen.com and schedule a 15-minute introductory phone call to talk with us.
And we'll see if we can help you, because you can make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Plan now to retire happy.